I'm Tammy Jones, and I am the 2014 U.S. Amateur Champion.
I'm Linda Myag, and I'm the 2017 U.S. Amateur Champion.
My name is Dana Aft, and I am the 2013 U.S. Amateur Champion.
My name is Kenneth Brisbane, and I am the 2014 U.S. Amateur Champion! Yes! Yeah, baby!
Good morning, Pool Player Nation. Welcome back to Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida for continuing coverage of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. I'm Jason Bowman. And this morning, we have in our second round of the morning, defending champion Blake Baker out of Spokane, Washington. Blake's taking on Clint Clark out of Statesville, North Carolina. This is a match on the one-loss side of the bracket, so one of these players is going to head home. The other will continue their journey in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. This match is a race to 7, which is a combination of 8-ball and 9-ball. We'll see up to 5 games of 8-ball, up to 8 games of 9-ball. Again, we mentioned the fact that this was a double elimination tournament. Both of these players have endured a loss. Blake Baker took a first-round loss to Ernesto Bayawa in a hill-hill match. Blake just came back to eliminate Ernesto, and Clint Clark took his first loss in this last round to Daniel Gamble, who is now in the hot seat match. So Blake Baker with the break in the 8-ball set, and we are off and running. Players again starting in the 8-ball set. As I mentioned, 5 games of 8-ball before they switch to the 9-ball set. You can see the U.S. Amateur Championship trophy now looming in the background there, reminding these players of what they are competing for. One of the things they are competing for, in addition to moving on to a pro event next year, courtesy of APA. And of course, the winner always returns to defend their title. This is now Clint Clark at the table. After an uncharacteristic miss from Blake. Again, Clint had been undefeated up until the last round. Took a loss to Dan Gamble. Clint's been playing pool 35 years. Finished 5th in this event back in 2014. Wanted to give a shout out to his wife and his cousin. And again, he's out of North Carolina. We've gone continuous play today. Which means there is no set time for the finals to begin. I would put the over-under at about 5 p.m. Could be a little earlier, could be a little later. Just depends on how things play out in the meantime. But if you've liked our Facebook page here, you will get a notification when matches go live. If you've not liked our page, I would encourage you to do that right now, so you don't miss any of the great action here at this year's U.S. Amateur Championship, final day. Clint pockets that 2-ball in the corner. My buddy Double J, Jeremy Jones, be here a little bit later today to call the matches with me as we move towards a conclusion in this event. 7 there in the side pocket. Clint looking to make the most of that miss by Blake early on in the rack. Gonna try to put it in that top corner there. And he's got it. Takes a 1-0 lead in this race to 7. He will have the break, his first break of the match. Always nice to get off to a good start. Blake will prepare the rack. We mentioned Blake took a first round loss to former champion Ernesto Bayao. That was a fantastic match. It went hill with Ernesto pulling it out in the end. You can actually go back and watch that match here on our Facebook page. But as you can see, Blake has worked his way all the way back through on the one-loss side to the final day of competition, which is no easy feat. He has sent a number of players packing in the process, so regardless of where things go from here, a strong run by the defending champ. Never easy to come into this event as the defending champion. Everybody's kind of got their eyes on you on terms of the tournament bracket. Everybody wants to be the guy to knock off the champ, so it's always a tough assignment. He's handled it quite well, but Mr. Clark is gunning for him here. If you're wanting to know how a particular player finished in this event or whether they're still playing, you can go to CompuSport.us. That'll let you track the progress of any particular player you might want to know about, how they have fared. There you go. Kirk over cash through that CompuSport bracket right there into the comments. If you're just joining us, you're watching second round of the day here at the U.S. Amateur Championship. Match on the one-loss side of the bracket. Clint looking very, very sharp early on here. Drops that 8 right there in the side. Takes a 2-0 lead in this race to 7. This will be the third game of the 5 games of 8 ball. I believe that was a break and run there for Mr. Clark. It's interesting because Clint had put in his player bio, it said, "What's your playing philosophy?" He said, "To be the man, you have to beat the man." And he is playing the man right now. Playing defending champion Blake Baker, so very appropriate quote there for this situation. We'll see if Mr. Clark can be the man by beating the man here. No easy chore against the defending champion, though. Blake now back at the table. Plays with a Davini cue, one of his sponsors, I believe, as well as D-Reel Promotions, Jam Up Apparel, End Zone Products, and Crooked Cues. Blake, one of the young, up-and-coming crop of players we've seen come through the U.S. Amateur Championship the last few years. Went undefeated last year in the event. Pretty remarkable run. Blake, a new father, had a baby girl, I believe, back in April. Got his family down here in Florida with him. Runs that 7 down in the corner. Turns his attention to the 8. Cuts that 8 ball in the side pocket. And we'll have the break. Now trails by just 1 game in this race to 7. Once these players are at the table, they stay there a while. Blake gets a look at the rack. Looks like he's comfortable with it. Gonna position that cue ball. A little more chalk on the tip, and he's ready to go. Trying to draw even in this race to 7. Dry break there. Clint will get a chance to return. I've not gotten a score update yet on that that other match on the 1-loss side. That's Jason Jones and Josh Watson. The hot seat match will be Dan Gamble and Jason Shearman. Josh Watson up 2-0 on Jason Jones. Thanks for the update there, Brad. been a great event so far for Josh Watson. He's in his first USAM appearance. As Clint Clark pockets the 9 in the corner there. Again, if you're just joining us, continuing coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship from Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida, presented by the American Pool Players Association. Players are in their 4th game of the 5-game 8-ball set. From there, they'll switch over to 9-ball, where we could see up to 8 games of 9-ball, depending on how things shake out. Yeah, the Gamble-Shearman hot seat match has not yet gotten underway, so we're going to play the one-loss side first. I believe you'll see that hot seat match after this round concludes. Along with the matchup on the one-loss side. Loser of that hot seat match will have to play the winner of the match that comes through the one-loss side for a spot in the final. Clint Clark here is from North Carolina. His opponent now at the table, Blake Baker, originally from DeWitt, Iowa, was living in Vegas there for a while, has since relocated to Spokane, Washington. A long trip down here for Blake and his family. I think he said they were turning this into a little vacation. Spend a couple weeks here in Florida. Again, you can see that U.S. Amateur Championship trophy there in the background. That holds the name of every player to win this event, including the man at the table currently, Blake Baker. He's looking to add his name on there for a 2nd time. If he were to do that, he'd become only the 4th player in the open division to win this event twice, as well as back-to-back. The only other players to win this title back-to-back, Richard Ross, Henry Brote, King Henry, back in the late 90s, and of course Brian Parks, a 5-time winner. Blake fires that 2 in the corner. Pockets the 8 in the side, and he has tied things up here. Clint Clark, 2 games apiece. And he will once again have the break. Josh Watson now up 3-0 on Jason Jones. The other match ongoing here in this 2nd round of the day. Jason was knocked to the one-loss side by Jason Shearman, who is now in the hot seat match. Both Josh Watson and Jason Shearman, both players that remain in the tournament, both in their first appearance. So strong showing by both those guys. Somebody was asking about a Brian Parks three-peat. He has not had a three-peat. He's won back-to-back twice, I believe. 17 and 16. And also in 12 and 13. So you can find that in our Hall of Champions. Let's see if I can paste that into the comments for you guys to check out. If you're interested in the history of the event, you can check that out. State of North Carolina well represented here on the final day of action at the U.S. Amateur Championship. As I mentioned, Clint Clark out of North Carolina, and the man in the background there who's hitting some balls, Dan Gamble, also from North Carolina. Gary Gold, I'm assuming you're referring to Brian Parks, asking why he's not here this year. I haven't talked to Brian in a while, but I'm assuming it has to do with the fact that California is, for the most part, remained locked down. Not a lot of pool playing going on there. Some in certain pockets I hear, but may have just been that there was not a preliminary round close enough that he wanted to try to qualify through. Could have just been he's busy these days. You know, the pandemic has forced a lot of folks to make some changes, so I suspect Brian will log on at some point later today and check things out, so perhaps he can answer that question himself. But certainly a lot of folks that have asked about him. Meanwhile, Blake Baker looking to take his first lead in this match. One of the things I enjoy about watching Blake is he moves pretty quickly. Doesn't take a whole lot of time. Keeps things moving. Not a lot of long pauses in his game. Pockets that 8-ball. So they have wrapped up the 8-ball set. Blake holding a 3-2 advantage as they move into the 9-ball set. Again, this is a race to 7. Blake will have the break. If you check out that Hall of Champions that I posted in the comments there, a lot of great stuff on that page. You can not only see who all the champions have been since this event began in 1994, but you can kind of see as we moved into the video production area, you've got some highlight videos, and then eventually you've got the actual streaming of the matches. So want to go back and relive some of those great moments, you can do that. Some of these great players were here this year. Ernesto Bayawa, Raymond Linares, David Rowell, Robert Hall. Of course, Blake playing right now. Tina Larson, Lisa Cosette, Stacy Barbeau. A lot of talent comes through this room in this tournament. I think Blake got the 3 ball there on the break. Fails to pocket the 1 there. Gary Gold, that's a good question. How many past champions have won a APA National Singles Championship? That would be an 8-ball classic or a 9-ball shootout title. There have been a few. I think Robert Hall is one. I believe Ernesto is another. Brian, I believe, has picked up one or both of those titles at one point or another. Fewer than you might think, though, which is interesting. It's just obviously a little bit different. Those events played on 7-foot tables. A little bit different scoring for the 9-ball. But certainly not uncommon to see a lot of these same guys out in Vegas at that event or at the Masters Championship. We just had the women's U.S. Amateur Champion Jeannie Seaver on the last round, talking about how she plays APA Masters. Very popular format, very similar to the U.S. Amateur Championship format. Combination of 8-ball and 9-ball. Clint Clark trying to take advantage of that early miss in this rack by Blake. Looking to tie this match up at 3 games apiece. Pockets at 7. Cuts that 8 into the corner. Oh. Fails to cut the 9 in the corner. Leaves that 9-ball, though, up on the rail, so Blake's going to take a look at it. See what he can do here. Fails to make contact with the 9-ball, so he will concede that game to Clint, knowing that he would have had ball in hand there. And we are all tied up at 3. It's now a race to 4 here. Again, one of these players will exit the tournament after this match. The other will move on to face the winner of the Josh Watson-Jason Jones match, which is ongoing. Josh Watson up 4-2 in that match. Clint Clark pocketing the 1 ball on the side on the break, as well as 7, no? 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that was it. 1 ball on the side. Goes 2-7 combination up in the corner. Looks like he'll follow the 2 ball up in the same corner. Brings it back down table for a shot on the 3. Fires it into the side. Safety there by Baker. Well, Clint gets a little lucky and then a little unlucky there. Blake will have a good opportunity to run this rack out with ball in hand. Regain the lead. Pockets at 4 in the side. Five in the corner. Six in the same corner. And the 9 in the opposite corner regains the lead. Now at 4-3 in this race to 7. Again, it's all 9 ball from here on out in this match. Players played 5 games of 8 ball. Blake had the advantage at 3-2 when they switched to the 9 ball set. Clint took that first 9 ball rack. Blake returns the favor by taking the next. Again, this match is on the 1-loss side of the bracket, so one of these players will be done after this match finishes up. Blake looks over the rack. Positions the cue ball. Dry break there. Jason Jones now trailing by just 1 to Josh Watson in the other 1-loss match going on in the second round here this morning at Strokers. Clint tried to go off that 1 into the 7 ball, but couldn't get the 7 to drop. Blake fails to make the one in the opposite pocket, so Clint very quickly returns. Somebody commenting about how quickly Blake likes to shoot. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Always a little bit easier to watch those guys that move a little bit quicker. I'm going to be honest with you. It's easier to stay engaged. I think the viewers like it a little bit better. A little bit of back and forth here for both these players with this one ball. Clint Clark goes ahead and clears it off the table. We'll see if that opens things up here now. Clint trying to draw even once again with Blake. Oh, Clint gets both the 7 and the 2 ball there. Not sure if he wanted that 2 ball to drop like that, but it does. Decides to play safety on that 3 ball. Blake gets a good hit on the 3 ball. Josh Watson now up 5-3 over Jason Jones. Again, some safety play here now on the 3 ball. Clint unable to pocket the 3 there. Nifty little shot there by Blake. Drops that 4 ball in that upper corner. Still has to contend with that 3 ball though, which is up on the rail. Quiet house this morning here at Strokers. Maybe 20 or so people in the room. 25 maybe. A lot of folks opting to tune in here on the stream. Appreciate all you folks joining us. Hope you're having a great day. Again, a little bit of a battle here now in this 3-ball. Mr. Clark goes ahead and takes care of that problem. Turns his attention to the 5-ball. And some more safety play here. Someone is asking about if Jason won. I'm not sure which Jason. If you're talking about Jason Shearman, he did win against Jason Jones. Jason Jones currently in play against Josh Watson. Again, both the matches in this second round of the day are both on the 1-loss side. Next up will be the hot seat match. And the winner of each of these matches that will square off with the winner of that playing the loser of the hot seat match. So it's a little confusing there. If you want to go to CompuSport.us, you can look at the tournament bracket yourself and kind of see how it navigates. Clinton can't get that 6 to go. Gonna give Blake a good opportunity to run out here. Take a 5-3 lead. Pockets the 3 in the side. Eight in the opposite side. Just the 9-ball remains. Cuts that 9 in the corner and takes a 5-3 lead in this race to 7. If you're just joining us, this is continuing coverage of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship, the Open Division. 128 players qualified. 117 made their way here to Strokers. Down to just a handful of players now this morning. 4 currently in play, 2 waiting to play. So the final 6, 2 were eliminated earlier this morning in the first round. Johnny Griffin and Ernesto Bayawa. I believe they both finished tied at 7th, 8th. Or in 7th and 8th position. Great run by both of them. Blake gets the one in the side there, but that 2 ball tucked up under the 4. Blake with the push out there. Clint pops up, knocks the 2 ball off the rail. Mark Goki, our league operator up in Delaware, congratulating his fellow league operator, Johnny Griffin, out of Texas, on an outstanding run in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. I know all of our league operators wish they could play a little bit more than they get to when they're running the leagues, but that's just kind of the way it goes. But here at the U.S. Amateur Championship, they are allowed to compete. Johnny represented well. Looks like some folks debating whether Blake should be allowed to participate in this event. It's funny, I remember those same commenters questioning a Brian Parks and pretty much anyone that starts getting to the final rounds of this event, but comfortable with the amateur status of all of these players, their rating systems and other things like that outside APA are not super relevant. Not that we don't take a look at that stuff, but we do keep an eye on players and their eligibility. As we've talked about, there's not a firm, fine line there in the absence of a pro tour to be able to determine that real easily, but I'll also mention you don't typically see a lot of pro players enter into a pool tournament that offers no prize money, so something else to keep in mind. Clint pockets that 6 ball. Cuts that 8 in the corner. Looks to pull within 1 here. And he does so. I'm going to keep an eye on that cue ball there momentarily. Blake now holding a slim 5-4 lead over Clint Clark. Clint will have the break here and a chance to pull even. Comment by Carlos Carter. I think we had Carlos here in the USAM a couple years ago. I believe he made a deep run. I believe that's Carlos. If it is, hope you're doing well, Carlos. Josh Watson has defeated Jason Jones 7-3. Josh will move on. Top 6 finish for Jason Jones. Now just one match in play here at Strokers, the match you're seeing here between Clint Clark and Blake Baker. Dominic, you're correct. The winner of this match will play Josh Watson. And the winner of that match will play the loser of the hot seat match. Clint now with a great chance to tie things up at 5. No problem with that 9 ball, and we are all even once again in this race to 7 between Blake Baker and Clint Clark. Another great early match here at the U.S. Amateur Championship at Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida. Final day of competition in this year's U.S. Amateur. Down to just 5 players now, with the elimination of Jason Jones. At the conclusion of this match here, we will be down to the final 4. An appropriate number given the March Madness going on out there, the basketball world. But here, we're focused on the pool world. And whose name's going to grace that U.S. Amateur Championship trophy you see in the background, or you did see in the background before Kara untimely removed it for me. That's okay. Well, dry break there for Clint. Chance for Blake to take control of the table. Cuts that 1 ball in the corner. Cue ball nudges that 4 ball out of the way so he can see the 2. Jason Cockrell, we're going to ask that you be a little bit more respectful, or we're going to remove you from the stream. I'll delete that comment, but I'd tread lightly, my friend. Because with the stroke of a few fingers, I can permanently remove you. It's my God complex there. Ha 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 ha. Blake taking a good hard look at this, and you know how fast he generally shoots, so he wants to be real deliberate here. Nice comment there by Alan, congratulating all the, or thanking, I should say, all the league operators that are keeping leagues going safely throughout the country. Certainly been a tough year on our league operators, no doubt about it. Tough year for all of us, of course, but, you know, leagues being shut down and then trying to get them reopened is certainly no easy feat with all the different protocols that are out there and locations with restrictions and all that stuff, so be nice to your league operators. They're working hard to try to get back to normal for you guys as best they can. Again, just 5 players remain in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. At the conclusion of this match, there will be 4, 2 on the undefeated side, 2 on the one-loss side. Folks tuning in from around the country. East Tennessee APA represented. Mid-America APA represented. Some folks tuning in from New Mexico. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're tuning in from. Enjoying our streaming coverage that we've been bringing you throughout the U.S. Amateur Championship. Yeah, someone mentioned Ron Park, the very first man to win a U.S. Amateur Championship title back in 1994. Understand he is in a very serious battle with COVID right now. So we want to send our best wishes to Ron. Hope he's able to battle his way through that. Got a viewer here from Nova Scotia tuning in. Happy to have you. Bettendorf, Iowa, San Diego, South Jersey, New York, Texas, South Carolina. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Ozark, Alabama, Davenport, Iowa. Williamsburg, Virginia, Orlando. Well, you guys are starting to overwhelm me. Somebody said France. Somebody referencing watching from Germany. Very cool. Well, you're getting to see Clint Clark here try to take his first lead of the match. If he can pocket this 9-ball, which he does with ease. He is now on the hill, folks. 1 game away from eliminating the defending champion, Blake Baker. As we mentioned, though, Blake took a loss in his very first match, first round on Friday, and has battled his way back, so I can assure you he will not go quietly. Another great match. We've had so many here on the streaming table throughout this event. Oh, Steve says it's the second time to take the lead. I think you're right, Steve. I apologize. Richard Andrews tuning in from the Godfrey, our host hotel at this event. Sits right on the Tampa Bay. Richard, I got to say, buddy, you move around a lot. I keep seeing your tags show up on Facebook here, there, and everywhere. You must be racking up some mileage. In the hot seat match, we've got Dan Gamble and Jason Shearman, both itching to get going, I'm sure. Again, the winner of this match will move on to face Josh Watson. Josh is from San Diego. I think he's originally from Atlanta, but now living in San Diego. And the winner of that match will play the loser of the hot seat match. So, hope you were taking notes. Safety play early on here in this rack. As we move towards the conclusion in this second round match of the day, elimination round match. Very quiet here this morning at Strokers. Blake will have ball in hand, looking to tie this match up at 6, putting both players on the hill. Clint obviously hoping to not let that happen. Oh. Blake rattles that 3 ball in the corner. See if that comes back to haunt him. What's up to you, Cody? From Robertsdale, Alabama. Just signed up for a preliminary. Glad you mentioned that, Cody. You can sign up for a preliminary round now on our website. Go to poolplayers.com and click on the U.S. Amateur Championship under Tournament Information. You can sign up for the preliminary round that will be held in the fall. Still finalizing some details. I would imagine we will have probably a second preliminary window. Still trying to determine the actual date for next year's U.S. Amateur Championship. Typically the event has been held in the fall, but now that we've made this move, we may decide to keep it at this time of year. We'll have to see. I know the players have enjoyed coming down here at the tail end of the winter. Guess we're now in spring officially. Clint pockets at 5, moving ever closer to eliminating the defending champion. 6 in the corner. Barring some kind of major mistake here, it looks like Clint will eliminate the defending champ, Blake Baker. Or possibly. Just misses scratching on that far corner there. Steps away from the table for a moment. Steady himself. Mark, that's correct. The entry window is for the 2022 championship. There will not be another U.S. Amateur Championship in 2021. With 2 major championships in the late summer and fall. Well, folks, what looked inevitable, not quite so. Blake Baker now a chance to even this match up and force a 1-game take-all match. But to do that, he's going to have to find a way to pocket this 9 ball. Pocket it, he does. He forces the deciding 1-game match here. Another Hill nail biter. 6-6, all tied up. Blake Baker will have the break. See a good show of sportsmanship there. The 2 players fist bumping each other. Jeremy Jones peering at me outside the commentary booth. Oh, you picked a good time.
6-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked in at 6-5.
I thought that was over.
Yeah, I saw Blake miss the 3.
Yeah. I know, commentator jinx. If only I had this kind of control throughout the rest of my life. One game to decide the outcome, and it looks like Blake's making an adjustment to his break, moving to the center of the table there. Looks like the move paid off as he pockets the 6 ball, and you can see he's got that 1 ball just hanging on there, which is probably a bit of a relief given the position of the 2 ball. Uh-oh. All right, pockets the 2. What do you think? I just got the thumbs up from Jeremy Jones. He thinks He thinks one of these guys is going to put the match away right here. That's what he thinks. I'm not going to commentate or curse it anymore. Pockets the 4 in the corner. Five in the corner. All right there in front of him now. Still has to execute though. Pockets the 7. 2 balls away from moving on. Pockets the 8. And now the 9, folks. Blake Baker survives a hill showdown with Clint Clark. Great match by both players. Blake's moving on to go against Josh Watson. The winner of that match will face the loser of the hot seat match. So we've still got a lot more action here at the U.S. Amateur Championship at Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back shortly. Appreciate you folks tuning in.